it's not the end of the world. Let us work with you so you can realize your full dream and potential.
A word of encouragement there from the Education Minister, Senator Ruel Reid, to students who were not as successful in the recent Grade 6 Achievement Test. Later on in the show, we hear what members of the public have to say on the matter. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Also in the package, major highlights from the recent sectoral debate presentation by State Minister in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Floyd Green. Plus, the work being done in our local food testing facilities through the Economic Partnership Agreement. Stay with us.
Wait, hold on. Colin, hey, what go on? You know, say, I'm on my way to go look about the farm work program. Aye, I love to do the farm work program there, you know. But remember, I serve a 5-year prison sentence for a minor crime. Them can clear it, you know.
Yes, Colin can get his record expunged. Expungement is having a conviction removed from your criminal record after certain specifications have been met. Visit the Criminal and Civil Justice Division in the Ministry of Justice for more information.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 21. The Ministry of Tourism has signed a contract with Charisma Hotels and Resorts for the construction of 5,000 new hotel rooms in Landover, St. Anne. The project will be undertaken over the next 5 to 10 years, creating about 8,000 jobs in the process. It will be the first major investment under the Shovel Ready initiative. This government program seeks to streamline and expedite investment in Jamaica's tourism industry by pre-packaging a number of investment offerings.
Investment is going to be a critical pillar of driving the growth strategy of this ministry. Not only that investment is going to be a critical lever of growth, but it is going to be a critical provider of jobs.
The Shovel Ready initiative is a joint undertaking by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Jamaica Promotions Corporation, National Environment and Planning Agency, Urban Development Corporation, and the Commissioner of Lands. Over $218 million will be spent on the upgrading of 16 secondary schools for the 2016-2017 academic year. This is in addition to 10 schools which are being removed from the shift system as the Education Ministry undertakes major infrastructural upgrades. Portfolio Minister Senator Ruel Reid gave details at a JIS think tank this morning.
The 10 schools include secondary, primary and junior high, and I believe we have about 40 schools to be left after that. And so we are programming I think within the next 3 years, I think we could complete the removal of all the schools off the shift system.
Other infrastructural upgrades will be for 24 early childhood and primary institutions at a cost of $38 million. The minister will provide more details on the planned upgrades in a press conference next week. Still on education, the Andrew Holness-led administration is keeping true to its commitment for a consultative approach to government. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid announced recently that his opposition counterpart, Reverend Arnold, will be co-chairing the committee for the revamped Values and Attitudes program in schools. Senator Reid said the program, when successfully implemented, would lead to a better Jamaica.
Safety and security is a function of the values and attitudes in the society. Our actions are driven by values, and therefore, if we were to re-engineer in Jamaica a culture of respect, sanctity of life, culture of how we resolve our conflicts peaceably, then what a Jamaica we would have.
Senator Reid was speaking at the recent Security and Ethics Conference in Kingston. And at the same conference, National Security Minister Robert Montego said government was strengthening its rehabilitation program to reduce crime and the possibility of prisoners reoffending. Minister Montego said a combination of programs was being implemented, which included literacy, preparation for external exams, conflict resolution, and farming.
By the end of this month, those within the correctional service will be able to provide at least breakfast for 1 day per week at a start. We cannot have these working age persons sitting in prisons watching TV and getting fat at the expense of the taxpayers. They must be put to work.
Government has committed to fast-tracking the transfer of mined-out bauxite lands to citizens. Transport and Mining Minister Mike Henry gave the assurance while on a recent tour of Jamalco.
And I'm going to see how much I can step in to work very closely to ensure the handing over back of land, the handing over back of titles, and how that can relate to increasing the agricultural output in relation to it. And I've seen some being done by other bauxite companies. I want to see Jamalco intensify that.
Minister Henry added that greater incentives were to be provided for persons owning and using mined lands. And finally, members of the public and private sectors as well as concerned citizens are being encouraged to support the Shoe Drive initiative of the National Youth Service. Placement coordinator at the NYS, Lancelot McCalla, says the initiative, which provides shoes to needy young people, will be rolling out this summer.
What it really is, what it will really entail is that we'll be asking different individuals, whether from private, public, or even from general society, to come on board to more or less donate a shoe or shoes where possible to the various parish branches that we have, and then from there we'll be donating it to individuals with needs, whether it is individuals within our cohort that we generally serve or other individuals that are deemed in need.
Mr. McCalla was speaking at a JIS think tank last Thursday. Donated shoes must be brand new. To get more details or to make your donation, contact the National Youth Service Head Office at 754-981-68 or visit one of their branches in your parish. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thank you for watching.
Yes, the heat is on. And as we continue to deal with the sweltering heat and dry conditions, parents, it's important to keep your kids hydrated.
Give them lots of water, lots of fluids if you can. Do some fun things. If you can either make some syrup with lime, lemonade, and freeze it. You can put popsicle sticks in there, and you have your children do it. And that can be a fun activity for them to do. And it's something that will keep them hydrated also.
Education, Youth and Information State Minister Floyd Green recently delivered his first sectoral presentation in Parliament, outlining the plans that were unfolding for the ministry. We have the highlights.
Tuition fee allocation at the secondary level increased to $3.9 billion. Plans in train to reinforce discipline in schools through an increase in uniformed groups. Initiatives underway to improve the lives of children in residential care facilities. Some major plans for the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in the 2016-2017 fiscal year.
No child should be unable to get secondary education because their parents cannot afford the fees.
And that's why the Education Ministry has increased the budgetary allocation for tuition fees from $2.6 billion to $3.9 billion for the 2016-2017 academic year. The increase in the budget has allowed government to move ahead with plans this September to remove auxiliary fees for students at the secondary level. The reform of various curricula is also a priority for government in the fiscal year. In September, government will begin the phased implementation of the National Standards Curriculum. It will run for the next 2 years. This new curriculum incorporates a new methodology to ensure that children are able to develop their critical thinking skills. To meet that goal, the Alternative Pathways to Secondary Education program will also be rolled out this September.
Learning Pathways, Mr. Speaker, will allow for an inclusive approach in which instruction is based on tailored curriculum, enabling each learner to perform to his or her fullest potential based on aptitude, interest, and ability.
The learning environment is critical to that objective. Infrastructural upgrades budgeted at $706 million will get underway for a number of primary and secondary schools. That's being funded by both government and/or international partners. Additionally, under the sanitation program, $76 million has been set aside to eliminate the use of pit latrines in some 69 schools.
This year, with the help of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, the Chase Fund, and Food for the Poor, we expect to eliminate pit latrines by the end of 2017.
Meanwhile, the School Security and Safety Unit will continue to implement measures to ensure that the teaching and learning environment is safe. To reinforce a culture of discipline, more emphasis will be placed on uniformed groups. $10 million has been allocated to support this initiative, and the Caribbean Maritime Institute, the CMI, will partner with stakeholders to achieve the objective. Beginning September this year, cadets from the CMI will assist 10 schools to develop a cadet program, and 50 police youth clubs are to be introduced in 50 high schools. In the 2016-2017 fiscal year, government will also pay close attention to early childhood development, specifically children from birth to 3 years. The aim is to identify the special needs of children before they enter the formal school system. $30 million has therefore been allocated to reactivate an early stimulation program being done in partnership with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
This will go a far way in positively impacting the early brain development of our children. The research is there. Now it's time to act. We are changing the game.
The care and protection of children in residential care facilities will get equal attention. As a first step, government will conduct a strategic review of the residential childcare sector to determine the needs and develop best practices to address the problems. This review is expected to be completed by December 2016. Discussions surrounding changes to the Child Care and Protection Act will also continue with the Attorney General's chambers and the head of the Legislative Committee. The terms and conditions of a recently signed Memorandum of Understanding will also be implemented to roll out the Transitional Living Program, which seeks to assist those children leaving residential care facilities.
The project will also facilitate the creation of a safe and appropriate transitional living facility for 40 females right here in Kingston who, upon leaving state care, have nowhere to go. The initial scope of the program has also been expanded to build a transitional home for boys in Southfield, St. Elizabeth.
To help develop the skill set of young people during this fiscal year, a total of $233 million has been allocated to the Jamaica Values and Attitude Program, JAMVAT. The program enables young people to conduct 200 hours of voluntary service while earning a stipend. The ministry is also re-examining a decision to merge the National Youth Service, NYS, with the National Center for Youth Development, NYCD. There's a view that the entities should remain semi-independent so that the NYS can focus on youth development and the NYCD on entrepreneurship and job placement. Youth information centers will also be revamped, and a youth advisory will be established to coordinate and drive the National Youth Parliament.
Youth are problem solvers. They are game changers. Young people must be utilized to energize every aspect of what we do as government. We must give them a chance to prove themselves, become the influencers they are destined to be. If we are to be prosperous, youth must carry us on the wave of prosperity.
During this fiscal year, the Information Division of the Ministry is undertaking several measures to modernize the sector. There's a plan to amend the Broadcasting and Radio Rediffusion Act and the Television and Sound Broadcasting Regulations. The bill and regulations are to be submitted to the Legislation Committee by the end of the fourth quarter of the financial year.
The mission of this ministry, therefore, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure that the education foundation of our youth are strong, that structures are put in place to engage and empower our young people, and that our society is so constructed to be information-driven with the appropriate frameworks to facilitate change. This our mission. We must change the game, and in so doing, energize the wave of prosperity.
Some marrying, you know. Yeah? Yeah, man, I have the package 60,000.
60,000?
Yeah.
How much I want?
Yeah, man, 2 bills I want.
Yeah, man, no one
$5 grand.
Yeah, man. Same. Alright,
What want, cat?
you don't know, I sit downtown the other day there.
Oh.
All the brethren, them man, we buy and sell marina. One of them I sell a 6-pack for $1,000 and the next one I sell one for $200.
So where buy?
Buy 5 of them for $1,000. Think them can't rob me.
So Uncle Fancy is the same $1,000 you would spend to get the 6? Seriously?
Tell them again now, my math brains.
Math count.
Math count.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Education.
Many grade 6 students and their families are celebrating the recent results of the grade 6 achievement test. After all, 81% of them were placed in a school of their choice. But what about the remaining 19%? What words of encouragement can you share with them?
Wherever school you're placed, you can shine because you hold your future in your hands. And it's all up to you. If you go and decide to work hard, you can achieve just as much as the other person that received their first choice or even better, because it's all up to you. You decide your destiny.
Just try hard when any school you get.
Just to do the best wherever they end up. Not to give up, but to do their best.
At the end of the day, every child does the same CXC, so all they can do is go to that school and apply themselves and do well, and they have another chance during CXC time.
Just keep focused and don't give up because life not over.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica are among the critical players who carry out food testing on the island. Through the work of the Economic Partnership Agreement between the European Union and CARIFORUM countries, staff has been trained and many of these facilities physically upgraded to get them to international standards. How has this been done? Watch this.
Over the past few years, the European Union, the EU, has been a key partner in promoting Jamaica's development agenda by facilitating increased export competitiveness and food safety and security. The Economic Partnership Agreement (EPA) capacity building project is one of the tools being used by the European Union, EU, and Government of Jamaica to improve and build infrastructure that supports our export industry. The EU-funded project, which is being implemented by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, seeks to improve our nation's productivity and output in agriculture, resulting in economic growth.
The LEPA agreement, Economic Partnership Agreement, was signed in 2008. All the members of CARIFORUM and as well as the 28 member states of the European Union. It's a trade, but it's also a development agreement. It also foresaw the idea of getting support from the European Union to the different CARIFORUM countries to export and have access to the European market. The type of activities that we have been implementing here basically was to upgrade laboratories to be able to test the products to comply to European standards, so therefore raising the standard. That includes not only providing the equipment but also the training.
Result number 1 of the project: increased capacity for product testing and certification for compliance with international standards has been achieved. This means that a number of public sector food testing laboratories have undergone the accreditation process and are now ISO 17025 accredited.
To be ISO 17025 accredited means that tests of Jamaican foods being exported to other countries by ISO 17025 laboratories will be readily accepted at ports of entries worldwide and will not be subject to delays that can adversely affect the quality of the produce.
The laboratories that have benefited from the accreditation process include the Microbiology and Chemistry Laboratories at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, the BSJ, Microbiology, Residue Testing and Parasitological Laboratories at the Veterinary Services Division of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, MICAF, Pesticide Research Laboratory of the Chemistry Department at the University of the West Indies, MONA, Plant Pathology Laboratory of the Plant Protection Unit, MICAF, and the Plant Virology Laboratory at the Plant Protection Unit at the Ministry.
We received a lot of renovations. So our lab was actually split, walls done, cupboards, tiles, everything was done to meet more international standards. Then at the front of our building, we had 2 new rooms being made. One for a submission room where we'd meet our clients before they'd come straight into the building. And as a quarantine building, that was actually a big no-no.
During 2014, we received 7 pieces of equipment valued at over 30 million Jamaican dollars. These were used to strengthen our quality system and help assist us towards having the labs accredited.
The Pesticide Research Laboratory has received assistance in the form of refurbishment of the laboratory, training of the laboratory staff, as well as analytical equipment and related supplies.
One of the basic piece of equipment we got was a LCMS, valued at about 350,000 euros. We have also had an incinerator, we've had water softener, we've had an oven dryer, and we also had several training opportunities for staff abroad.
The plant quarantine, plant produce inspection branch at MICAF has also benefited from the EPA project.
EPA is pivotal in our safeguarding effort because there are times when we intercept things that are imported that have pests on them. These must be destroyed. And so the incinerator that we are getting through the EPA is going to play that very special role.
The long-term impact is pretty much one that will now allow us to conduct the relevant tests in compliance with the markets that we're trying to access so that our farmers, our processors, our producers can export their products and have them tested at the level where we are satisfied that we can compete with any developed country in the world.
They have allowed us to make the test methods complete in a shorter time. They have allowed us to automate test methods, and they have allowed us to meet turnaround times in a more satisfactory manner for our clients.
But that's not all. Another important result of the project is increased awareness of international standards and technical requirements in the public sector.
Exposure of public officers to advanced training in food safety and other related standards, training for specific assessments on animal and plant health issues can only strengthen Jamaica's institutional framework and facilitate increased exports by private sector stakeholders.
And the EPA team continues to work on the sensitization of and dialogue with the private sector on technical barriers to trade, TBT, and sanitary and phytosanitary issues, SPS.
The private sector is directly involved in the production and export of food and agro-processed products. and deals directly with the different trade issues. Food exporters must meet the TBS and SPS requirements of the countries importing their goods.
So it's clear that the EPA capacity building project has already started to significantly transform the Jamaican business sector, resulting in sustainable and economic development. And the EPA2 project further enhances this transformation. The EPA2 financing agreement was signed in November 2014 and is being implemented on a phased basis. A part of this agreement focuses on providing assistance to coffee and spices industries, two sectors with the potential for increasing exports from Jamaica to the European Union.
EPA 1 project focused only on institutional aspects and trying to bring the laboratories to ISO standards. And the second one built on this, and then is when we have introduced the specific support to the two industries. The particularity, in order to do that, we have got an agreement with the International Financial Corporation, which is part of the World Bank Group, which specializes in support to the private sector, and they are responsible for the implementation of this component of the program.
The Economic Partnership Agreement Capacity Building Project will continue to contribute to Jamaica's national export strategy, supporting Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
All the people them with a Zig V, hold up your hand. Zig V in the Caribbean territory, but we now want that virus take set pan we. So make sure send us stagnant water inside and mash up all mosquito breed inside. More hole in the tin them where you dash way and change the water in your vase every day. No litter, dispose of your garbage proper. You know them the thing that we turn drain blacker. Tour your community and tour your yard for suppress mosquito. We have figure hard dash we all tire turn over drum pan for prevention is the greatest weapon. And special shout out to pregnant ladies. Protect yourselves and protect your babies. Draw for your zapper and your mosquito spray. If we do all that we can to keep them away. For we know what's in vain.
And that's how we close the pages of today's Jamaica Magazine. We implore you to clean up potential mosquito breeding sites at least once weekly and protect yourself using mosquito repellent containing DEET as we fight Zig V. Share your comments by emailing us at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm and keep informed through our website jis.gov.jm plus on our social media platforms. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.